Hello guys, Omni here. Actually, really late to the game on this. I completely forgot there was an episode of Legends of Tomorrow this week. So we're going to be talking about it real quick. It's going to be a quick little discussion on this one because honestly, I could really recap the majority of this episode pretty easily. So if you haven't seen the episode, tune out and come back once you have. We're going to be diving into it right now. So this episode opens up with John in hell talking with Astra, trying to talk to her about everything and trying to, I guess, kind of get into her emotionally, and it's not really working. Trying to talk her about out of this path that she's chosen, but now that she's finally got all this power and through all the torture she's had to go, as her soul has really just been living in hell all these years. Now that she's in charge and has some power, she's really kind of loving it. You know, once you have no power for so long, once you have it, she's got this little twisted sadistic aspect to her now, and she's just thrilling in it. So they find out too that sending the Encores back to hell just allows Astra to send them right back. So killing them or stopping them isn't really going to do anything because Astra can just re-release them back into the world. So they have to capture them, contain them in some way, and that's really kind of how it all kind of comes together. During this whole thing, I believe that Nate and Bayrod are going to his timeline, his future, so that they can meet his family, hang out for Bayrod's birthday, and meet the family, and just kind of get off the ship, have a little time out there. And I really think this is a way so they can get Nate to see Zari and run into that. And they come into contact, and she's this like Instagram influencer, shallow just person who's just tweeting and Instagramming her whole life, and it's just complete 180, 100% on what we know Zari to be like. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So we learned that Bayrod has stole the totem from their family, and Zari actually knows this, but Nate gives off these really stalkery vibes where he just keeps gawking at her because, you know, he's in her memories. He was in Gideon's databanks and all this stuff. And he's like, I need to figure this out. And she's just like, wow, this guy is so creepy. Bayrod, why are you bringing your creepy friend to our house? All this stuff. The rest of the team, however, are tracking down a new anomaly, a new encore, and it is Bugsy Siegel, a famous mobster from Old Town, LA. And they are he's back after having just been murdered with a magic gun that I can't tell if he's able to use it to manipulate people necessarily. It kind of gives off the sense that he can brainwash people or mind control them with the gun. It also, the bullets it shoots erases you from existence. I thought that was strange. So there's a lot of things going on top of all the blackmail that he has just as a mobster that on the people of the town, that he's really got his hands and fingers in everything. So that's really kind of the challenge with the team. Ray goes undercover as a police officer. Sarah and Rory and Ava are working on angles on Bugsy to try to figure out things, investigating his club, kind of keeping and monitoring tabs on him. Meanwhile, John pretends to be a private eye and runs into Virginia Hill, who has close relationship to Bugsy Siegel. And, you know, she came to LA, you know, the whole typical, I moved out here to become famous. And she was like, she said this thing, it was like, I became famous for all the wrong reasons and all this stuff, her relationship with Bugsy Siegel and all this stuff. So that kind of pans out. Her and John actually work together to try to get the gun and get the stash of blackmail information that he has hoarded away on everybody in the town. They kind of work together to try to figure out how to get that, manipulate him, and get that stuff away from her. Her using her womanly wiles to get it away. And for a hot, heated moment, it looks like she gets some Constantine action here in this episode as well, which was pretty fun and funny. But they work together on that front. Ray really doesn't get much accomplished in this episode whatsoever. They need to cause a distraction at Bugsy's club, the Blue Iguana. And so while Sarah's not there, the only people there were Rory and Ava, and she was depressingly drunk because she's lamenting on how she has no purpose now or now that her job, her life, her home is just gone. So she's just like wasted. And when Sarah calls in, I need somebody to call as a distraction, get everybody out of the Blue Iguana. She's like, I got this. And she goes up, and there's this whole musical sequence where she goes up and she takes the microphone on the bandstand and she's singing beautifully, amazing. There's this whole like musical montage that she's just like wailing and blasting it away like it's just like booyah. And then we pan out and everybody's leaving the club because she's actually drunk as shit and just like bleeding like a lamb, singing terribly. Everyone's like, oh, this is lame. I'm getting out of here. What is this disgusting music? And so Bugsy shows up. They get him. Virginia like woos him, does her like sneaky, I'm gonna kiss you, but in the meantime, my hand's down here grabbing the gun. She gets the gun. Her and John go to his hiding place, which happens to be in a cemetery, finds his stash of blackmail, and she's like, you know what, John? I think I want the blackmail. I'm tired of being manipulated by everybody. I want the power. She holds the gun up to John. She takes the blackmail, and then she gives John the gun and makes off with the blackmail. But oh, lo and behold, her car was rigged with a bomb. So the second she starts it, John's like, no, and she explodes. She's dead. That's not how she died in real life. So I'm pretty sure that's a time issue. Maybe not big enough to actually affect the timeline negatively enough, which is just makes it a little more sad for her life in general. That being said, they managed to capture Bugsy. They take him back to the Wave Rider. John grabs him, like, just like takes his blood, and I can't remember what he did to him. I think he like beat him on the forehead with the gun, caused him to bleed. And he like put his fingers in the blood, did this like whoa, painted blood on his face with it, and then licked the blood into his mouth. I just love the weird crap that Constantine has to do for his rituals and just everything. And then he uses that to take Bugsy with him down into a portal to hell to meet with Astra. And he takes Bugsy through there. He fires off. There's only like 5 bullets left in the magic existence erasing gun. And all the demons that actually try to stop him from getting to Astra, he just eliminates them, kills them all. And until he's got 1 shot left. And I was actually keeping count to see if they actually could remember and keep track of that. And they did. So good job there. So when he gets to Astra, you know, he pulls the gun on her, but he does this thing. He's like, I am not giving up on you. That is another promise that I will make. And he's like, another promise from the great Constantine. You're just going to fail again, aren't you? So he's like, we're going to do it. We're going to get it. I am not going to be the one to pull the trigger on you. I'm going to save you one day. Not now, maybe not next week, maybe not soon. I'm going to save you. And he uses the last bullet to blow Bugsy out of existence and leaves. That's pretty much where that whole storyline wraps up for this episode. We cut back to Nate and Bayrod and all that stuff. Like, you know, Nate's having this private conversation with Zari, trying to see if she remembers anything from the previous timeline. And she really doesn't. She's just kind of like flirting with him, trying to get information on Bayrod, I think, or just, you know, trying to get some. I can't tell. But Bayrod catches him, shows up, and then they get in a tussle, and Zari's all like, you know what? I'm tired of your crap. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. How were you in the past? I saw this thing and a picture where you were there at Hayworld, and you were there, but that was 24 years ago, and you guys haven't aged at all. What is going on? He's like, we're time travelers. She's like, bullshit. And she's like, I'm telling mom and dad that you took the totem. And she's like, fa, 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 fa. And Nate opens a time gate to the Wave Rider. She doesn't look in front of her where she's walking and just walks right through it. And then she's on the Wave Rider and she's like, oh, what is all of this? And that's where the episode ends. Zari's on the ship. An alternate reality Instagram girl, Zari, is here on the ship. This episode was really, I'd say, a throwaway. I don't think this really progressed things a whole lot except for Nate's story necessarily, and a little bit of John. That we got some movement with Ava and what's going on with her now that the Time Bureau has been shut down. The Wave Rider is just, they're all kind of just AWOL, I guess you could say. So not a whole lot going on. It was a fun episode. I like seeing that they actually did take the time to dress up. We got some period moments in this, and it was pretty fun. I'm curious to see what other menacing people from the past we'll run into. We've had Rasputin so far and Bugsy Siegel. I know we got a couple of other people. I didn't watch the preview for next week, so I'm not sure who's coming out there, but it was an okay episode. I had fun with it for the most part. Completely forgot that they weren't on hiatus because most of the other shows were off this week, so I was a little confused. We had Flash, Black Lightning, and then Supergirl and Batwoman were both on hiatus, I think. So yeah, I'm gonna have to double check that. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. What do you guys think of this episode? What do you think of the season so far? We're 2 episodes in, really 3 episodes if you count Crisis. So yeah, it's an okay start. I enjoy the show. It's more of like a breather between the other shows for me. It's definitely the least serious of all of them. So it's just a nice comic booky, fun change of pace. As much as I do still love the first 2 seasons, and I'll keep saying those are still my favorite seasons of Legends of Tomorrow. And I don't think that's going to change, but the show where it stands, it's kind of filling its gap now, and it's doing pretty good at it. That's all I'm going to say. So let me know what you thought. We'll talk about it in the comments. If you like the video, support the channel by liking, commenting, subscribing, and I'll catch you guys next week with our next update or whenever the next episode of CW's Arrowverse, whatever crap from DC comes up, because the CW's release schedules that can be pretty confusing sometimes. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next week. Take care, everybody.